Okay, so we've all seen those photos, right?
Mm-hmm.
The before and after braces pics.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the transformations, they're pretty wild. And if you're here listening, I'm guessing you're thinking about braces for your own kiddos. Maybe they're getting to that age. Maybe you've noticed some things, whatever it is.
It's a big decision.
It is. So today, we're doing a deep dive on braces, all the need-to-know stuff to get you ready for that orthodontist appointment.
Awesome.
We're looking at pasted text. Looks like you've been doing your research. This article's got a pretty good overview of everything. You flagged it for us.
I did. I think it's a great starting point for sure. But like anything else, there's always going to be those details, those nuances that, aren't always in a straightforward list of pros and cons.
Totally. So the article breaks down 5 main types of braces. Traditional metal, self-ligating, lingual, ceramic, and then those clear aligners like Invisalign.
Yep.
Before we jump into each one, though, I'm curious from your perspective, what are some misconceptions people tend to have about these different types? Like, what do you find yourself constantly explaining or clarifying for parents?
Oh, that's a good one. I think a big one is this assumption that newer automatically equals better.
Oh, interesting.
Like, don't get me wrong, newer technologies, like think clear aligners, they definitely have their advantages, for sure. But traditional braces, those are like the tried and true. They're the gold standard for a reason.
They've been around forever.
Exactly. Reliability, effectiveness, especially with complex cases. It's not a one-size-fits-all.
Got it. So it's about finding the right tool for the job, not just assuming the newest thing is the magic solution.
Exactly.
All right, let's break it down then, starting with those old faithfuls, traditional metal braces. What's the deal with those? What's actually happening in there?
Well, think of it as like a little symphony of controlled forces happening in your mouth.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Right. So you've got the brackets, those are like the anchors on each tooth. Then the wire threaded through those brackets, that's like the blueprint. It's guiding the movement.
Okay, and then there are those little rubber bands.
Ah, yes. Those are like the muscle. They apply the pressure to actually move the teeth, following that blueprint the wire set out. It's a system that really has stood the test of time.
It's tried and true, for sure. Now, what about the self-ligating braces? The article mentions something about a built-in mechanism instead of using those rubber bands.
Right. So instead of having those external rubber bands, the bracket itself has like a tiny little door.
A door.
Yeah, it's spring-loaded, and it holds the wire in place. This design, what it does is it minimizes friction.
Okay.
Less friction a lot of times translates to faster treatment, fewer adjustments, which any kid would appreciate, right?
Okay, 100%. Less time in the orthodontist's chair is a win-win for everyone.
Exactly. And cleaning. Cleaning's way easier. No more of those tiny rubber bands to navigate around.
So that's a win for parents, too.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the kids who are maybe a little more, image conscious.
I see where you're going with this.
Because I remember being that kid who was like, metal in my mouth, no way.
Oh, yeah. Well, for them, we've got lingual braces.
Lingual.
Yeah, these are custom made to go behind the teeth.
Whoa, so they're totally hidden.
Pretty much. Invisible from the front. Secret mission to straighten those teeth.
Stealth mode activated? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But there's got to be some sort of trade-off for that level of invisibility, right? It can't be that easy.
You're right. There's always a trade-off. Because of where they're placed, cleaning can be a bit trickier, and there's a chance of some tongue irritation, especially at the beginning.
I can see that.
Right. Some people even mention like slight speech impediments at first, but that usually resolves as they get used to it. So again, it's about weighing those pros and cons. What's most important for the individual?
It's all about that balance. So we've got hidden, we've got less noticeable. What about ceramic braces? Those are another option for less visibility, right?
Exactly. These ones use like a clear or tooth-colored ceramic material for the brackets, so they blend in really well. If someone wants a less noticeable look, but maybe isn't ready for the commitment of lingual braces, ceramic can be a great middle ground.
So they're kind of like a compromise between aesthetics and like practicality.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, now for the big one, because let's be real, we can't have this conversation without talking about Invisalign. Those clear aligners seem to be everywhere these days. Why do you think they're so popular?
Honestly, I think a lot of it is the discreetness and the convenience. It's not like having those fixed brackets and wires. Invisalign uses these clear, removable aligners. They're custom molded to the teeth, and you can take them out when you eat, brush your teeth.
Which teenagers these days, that's a big deal.
Huge. I mean, you think about it, you're a teenager, you're worried about your image, and you don't have to have a mouth full of metal.
I can definitely see the appeal, but they're not a miracle solution for every situation, are they? There's got to be some limitations.
You got it. They're most effective for those mild to moderate alignment issues. If it's more complex, then traditional braces are probably going to be the better option. Plus, there's the responsibility factor. Patients have to be on top of wearing them like 20 hours a day minimum for them to work properly. Otherwise, it's like hitting pause on your treatment.
So they require a certain level of diligence, which, as a parent, that's something to keep in mind.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so we've got all these different options. It's almost overwhelming. As a parent, where do you even begin to figure out what's best for your kid?
That's really where that initial consultation, that's key.
It's like picking the right path, right? Choose your own adventure, but instead of a quest, it's like your kid's smile on the line.
That's a great way to put it. And a big part of picking that path, cost.
It's the question everyone's thinking about.
For sure. And the article mentions it, but I'm sure you noticed, they give a pretty huge range for each type of braces.
Yeah, it's like, be prepared to spend somewhere between a new laptop and a used car.
Right. Not super helpful when you're trying to budget, right?
Not at all. So break it down for us. Why can those costs be all over the map?
So many factors, honestly. The biggest one is how complex the case is.
Hmm.
A simple alignment issue that's naturally going to be way less involved and less expensive than something that needs multiple phases of treatment. Like, sometimes we need to address jaw alignment before we even touch the teeth themselves.
It makes sense. What else plays into it? Like, I'm guessing location's got to be a factor, right? An orthodontist in the middle of Manhattan is probably going to charge more than one in, like, a less populated area.
100%. Geographic location's a big one, but then you've also got the orthodontist's experience level, their reputation within the field, all those things factor in.
Okay, so it's not as simple as just, like, a price tag on each type of braces. It's more nuanced.
Way more. And then remember those additional procedures the article mentioned. Things like sometimes tooth extractions are necessary or palate expanders. Those can add to the cost too.
So it's a multivariable equation. Okay, let's talk insurance, because none of this is exactly cheap. What do our listeners need to know about navigating that whole side of things?
First thing, don't freak out. Seriously, a lot of dental insurance plans, they do offer some coverage for orthodontics, especially for kids and teens. The key is to really understand what your specific plan covers. Like, a good place to start is looking for what's called the lifetime maximum for orthodontic treatment.
So, like, the total amount they'll ever contribute toward braces, even if you need multiple phases of treatment over the years.
Exactly. It's a cap.
Got it.
Then there's the deductible, the amount you got to shell out before the insurance actually kicks in.
Right. I feel like people gloss over that part sometimes, but it's important.
Absolutely. It makes a huge difference. And don't be afraid to ask the orthodontist's office about payment plans or discounts. A lot of them have options to make it more manageable.
Oh, that's good to know. Now, the article mentioned something about, like, going to a dental school for treatment, that it could potentially save money. Is that legit?
It can be.
Yeah.
Dental schools, they often have significantly lower rates because the treatment is done by students.
Which, that makes sense.
Yeah, and they're supervised by experienced, licensed orthodontists. It might mean a few more appointments, maybe a bit longer treatment time, but the cost savings can be huge. It's about weighing what matters most to you.
Okay, so we've covered the what, the how much, the who's paying what, about the when. Is there an ideal age for kids to get braces?
It's a common question, for sure.
The article talked about that first orthodontist visit, like, around ages 6 to 8, which seems really young to me.
It does, right. Especially if they still have baby teeth.
Exactly. So what's the point of going so early?
Early intervention. That's the key. The American Association of Orthodontists, they recommend that first visit by age 7. And it might seem weird, but it's because even if a kid doesn't need braces right then, that early evaluation, it gives us this window into their jaw development. We can see potential issues and guide their growth in a way that we just can't once everything's done growing.
So it's less about fixing teeth at that age and more about setting them up for success later on.
Exactly. Proactively addressing those potential problems while the jaw is still malleable. Honestly, it's incredible what a difference early intervention can make.
The article also listed some red flags that parents should watch out for. Things like losing baby teeth too early or too late, difficulty chewing, crooked teeth. But what do those issues actually look like? I feel like most parents aren't dentists. We need, like, a visual guide.
It really is like its own language, isn't it?
Totally. Okay, so decode it for us.
Okay, so some common things we look for. Overbites. That's where the top teeth, they stick out way too far in front of the lower teeth.
Got it.
Not only does it mess with how your bite comes together, but it makes those front teeth super vulnerable, like way more likely to get chipped or damaged.
Ouch.
Makes
Okay.
sense? Then you've got the opposite underbites. That's when the lower jaw juts out farther than the upper one. Underbites, those can cause trouble with chewing, even speech development as kids get older. Crossbites, that's another big one. That's when the upper and lower teeth, they just don't line up right. And it can cause like uneven wear and tear over time.
So instead of everything fitting together nicely.
Exactly. And then, of course, crowding, which is pretty much what it sounds like.
Mm.
Not enough real estate in there for all those teeth.
Too many teeth, not enough space.
Exactly. And it all goes back to what we were saying, that first consult. It's not just about if your kid needs braces at this exact moment. It's about getting a handle on their overall oral health long term.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It's like a preventative approach.
Right. 100%. And hey, while we're on this topic, can we just address the elephant in the room? Braces. They're not just about aesthetics.
It's easy to get caught up in the cosmetic side, for sure. Especially with social media these days. Everyone's got a picture-perfect smile.
It's true. But we're talking about bite alignment here. That's about the health of your whole mouth. Think about it. Misaligned teeth that can lead to so many issues down the line. Uneven wear and tear makes your teeth weaker, more likely to chip, crack, even lose teeth too early.
Well, I never thought about it that way.
And then there's the jaw pain. Bite problems can cause jaw pain, headaches. Even those tension headaches you get might be coming from your mouth. You'd never know.
Ah.
And then, like we said, speech issues can be a factor too. It's all connected.
Yeah, your whole body is
Yeah.
connected.
Right. It's not just your teeth in isolation. And on top of all that, think about the psychological side. Having a straighter smile, that can do wonders for a kid's confidence, especially during those awkward teenage years.
Oh, absolutely. I remember those days. Not fun.
It's huge. Being able to smile with confidence, it affects everything. So yeah, it's not just cosmetic. It's about their whole well-being.
Okay, so let's say, as a parent, I'm convinced. I'm ready for that consultation.
Yeah.
What are some questions, some really key ones, that I should be asking? Because honestly, going into those appointments, it can feel a little overwhelming. At least it does for me.
Totally. And you should never feel bad about advocating for your child's health.
Mm.
That's your job as a parent, right?
Yeah.
So first and foremost, remember, you are in charge in that room. It's your kid's health. Don't be afraid to ask about the orthodontist's treatment philosophy. Like, do they prefer certain types of braces? Do they believe in early intervention? What's their approach? Getting a feel for their overall style, that can help you see if it drives with what you're looking for.
So it's like finding a good fit, not just in terms of their skills, but like their whole approach, right?
Exactly. You're going to be working with them, so you want someone you trust. Also, definitely ask about their experience treating cases similar to your child's. Have they had success with this specific issue before?
It's reassuring to know you're not the first parent who's walked through their door with this problem.
Right. Every case is different, of course. But seeing a pattern of positive outcomes, that helps. And this is a big one. What are your priorities for treatment? Is it speed, comfort, how invisible the braces are, cost? Be upfront about those priorities. Make sure they line up with what the orthodontist is recommending. There's not always one right answer. It's about finding the best fit for your family.
Okay, I like that. It's a partnership, not just a like one-way street.
100%. And hey, let's be real for a second.
Mhm.
Cost. Don't be shy about bringing it up. You might assume you know all the options, but ask. Payment plans, discounts, do they offer financing? This is especially important if it's a complex case or if you've got multiple kids who are going to need braces.
Makes total sense.
And then, this might seem small, but it's huge. Communication. Ask them about their communication style. How often will they update you? Are they easy to reach if you have questions? Feeling like you can talk to them openly, that makes the whole process way smoother.
It's like laying the groundwork for good communication from the start.
Exactly. It makes all the difference. Remember, knowledge is power, right? Going into that appointment, armed with info, being ready to ask those questions, that's how you make the best decisions for your kid's health.
Absolutely. Well said. And on that note, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. We've talked about the different types of braces, the costs involved, that early intervention is key, even some of the psychological aspects of treatment. Who knew there was so much to it?
The whole world. But hey, that's why we do these deep dives, right? To uncover all those details you might not think about otherwise.
Absolutely. Listeners, we want to hear from you. What really resonated with you today? What questions do you still have? Head over to our social media. Let us know. We're at The Deep Dives on all the platforms. And make sure you're subscribed because our next episode is going to be a good one. We're tackling a whole new topic, one that's going to make you think differently about, well, everything. Until then, stay curious.